speed of our enemy ships to 5. We're going to start these guys real weak. We're going to have real slow bullet shots, and they're going to be super slow on the screen. That's how we like it. End is visible will equal to true, because when we start the game, we want our enemies to be visible and spawned. Okay. Next function, we're not going to do a load content because we really don't have to do anything. Just like in our is that our asteroid class? Yeah, we don't have a load content in here either, like we do in our player class, where we got to set separate textures and stuff. But because the asteroids are handled in a list in the main class, that's where we load all our content for them. And since we don't really need a load content for our enemy, because we're going to be making an enemy list in our game 1, so we can handle all the stuff in there. Alright, so we're going to have our update function, public void update, and that's game time. We'll start commenting these too. I tend to get sloppy. Okay. In our update, like just like our other classes, I'll start commenting this stuff. Update collision rectangle. So like our other classes, we're just going to set our bounding box will equal a new rectangle. Typecast it as an int. Position.x. Typecast again. Position.y. Texture.width. And texture.height. And I'll go over this real quick. I know we've done it in all our other classes, but we'll do it the same way. Like I said, we're drawing a bounding box around each of our enemies so that we know when their bounding box collides with something else, then there's a collision. And we're just setting that bounding box at the enemy's position. And we're setting the width and the height of the box to the width and the height of the enemy ship texture. Okay? So it's creating our invisible rectangle around our enemy ship. We're going to update enemy movement, which, like I said at the beginning of the video, we're just going to keep it really generic for now, and they're just going to come down just like the asteroids do. We're not going to have them flying left and right and stuff just yet. We can always add that later, which we will, because we wanted to make it the way I program games is I like to just get all the basics in place, and then I like to get cosmetic with everything. Like you know, we got our enemies in the game, we can shoot, we got display on the screen, we got our asteroids. Now let's make everything cooler, so then we can go back into our classes and change things to our liking to make the game more interesting. Okay, but we'll just start out basic. So update enemy movement, we're just going to say position.y is plus or equal to speed, and all this is going to do obviously is move the enemy on the y axis, which is up and down, and just have him move just like the asteroids. This is the exact same code for the asteroid movement. It's just moving them down the screen. Okay, and then what we're going to say here is we'll comment it, move enemy back to top of the screen if he flies off bottom. So we're going to say if position.y is greater than or equal to 950, and I'm, let's finish this real quick. Position y will equal -75. And remember I mentioned, I don't like to get into the habit of hard coding stuff, but I never set any variables. We could go in every class and set a screen height and a screen width variable and set those to the dimensions of our window, instead of going in here and always hard coding, well, my screen's 950 pixels high, so I'm going to put that in there. We could just say, if the position y is greater than or equal to the screen's height, then the position y would be screen height minus 75. But we can hard code these for now, because it is more than likely our screen dimensions aren't going to change. But like the texture and width here, instead of putting the texture, like we know our ship's 45 by 45 pixels, well, what at some point if we want to change our image of our texture, and then we have it hard and it's a bigger image, then we have this 45 hard coded in here when we could just be grabbing the width and the height automatically. It's just good practice. Okay, so what else do we need in our update function? Nothing yet. So we'll go down to our draw. Public void draw, and that's going to be sprite batch like all our other ones. Okay, and in our draw function, we're going to do like we normally do. We're going to say sprite batch.draw. We want to draw our texture of our enemy ship to the position that we have that the enemy is at, and color.white. Our basic draw function like our other classes. And then we did create our bullet list, right? So then what else we want to do in our draw function? So I'll comment this real quick. Draw enemy ship. Okay, and then our next one we're going to say draw, what are we going to draw? Enemy bullets. Okay, so we're going to say for each bullet B in bullet list, we're going to say b.draw sprite batch. Okay, so and all this is doing is that whenever an enemy fires a bullet, it gets added to our bullet list, and then we're going to draw for each bullet that's in our list. We're going to draw it, and all that's doing is calling the draw function from our bullet class, which is right here. It's just drawing the bullet. All right. Let's see. We won't. Well, we could add. No, we won't do our level up function. We don't need to do that right now. Seeing as we're not going to implement it yet, we won't do it yet. All right. So we're going to do an update bullets function. So public void update bullets. It's not going to take any parameters. Okay, and we're going to say, and basically all it's going to be is, you know what we can do is in our player class, you know how we have our update bullets in here? It's actually going to be the exact same function. All the code's going to be the same, except for we're just going to change a few things because actually we're not going to change much at all. Let's see here. Are we going to change much at all? No. It's pretty much just going to be exactly the same. So what we can do is we can go into our player class and we can just copy our update bullets function. Make sure you get the whole thing. Don't miss any squiggly bars. All right. If you have Visual Studio and you highlight one of the squiggly, let's see here. Well, apparently it isn't working for me today, but normally if you highlight one, it'll highlight the corresponding closing or opening bracket that goes with that, so it's easier to tell. Because when the code gets long, sometimes it's difficult. But we're going to copy the whole update bullets function from our player class, go to our enemy class, and we'll delete that, and just paste it in. And notice you don't have to change anything. We don't got any errors or anything because we have a bullet list in here as well, and in our player class, and it's exactly the same code. Only thing we're going to change is when we're setting the movement for our bullets. Since the player is shooting bullets up towards the top of the screen, the enemy is going to be shooting bullets down. All we're going to say is b position.y equals b position.y plus speed, so that the bullets move down instead of up. Alright, and the bounding box for the bullets, yep, that's correct. Yep, all the rest is right. Let's see what we got here on the error list. Did I miss one? I bet you I did. I did. We missed. I didn't copy in one of our squigglies. There we go. Okay. So we have our update bullet function. Let's see here. Bounding box is good. Okay, we need to change this as well. If the b.position.y is less than or equal to 0, we want it to be greater than or equal to 950, because since the enemy ship is shooting bullets downwards, we want it to say when the bullets hit the bottom of the screen, like that, you know, then we want the bullet to be false. Okay, and all the rest of this is the same. All right, so One more function here, and it's going to be the enemy shoot function. Just like our player class, we have a player shoot function, we're going to have an enemy shoot function. So we can go public void, we'll call it enemy shoot. Okay. You know, a lot of this stuff we can copy over too, but I'm just going to type it all out. So, shoot only if bullet delay resets, just like our player. So we're going to say if bullet delay is greater than or equal to 0, then bullet delay minus. Okay? And all that's saying is that once the bullet delay is 0, it's just going to start subtracting again after you fire, and then count down. So that's what's giving us our bullet delay. Which we went over all of this in the player class already, so I'm just going to kind of breeze through it. Because the code is exactly the same, essentially, as the player shoot function in our player class. Okay. So we're going to say if bullet delay. Oops, we don't want to comment that. If bullet delay is less than or equal to 0, we're going to say bullet new bullet equals new bullet. And then what that's going to be is going to be our bullet texture. Okay? Because it takes a texture 2D in there. So we're going to say new bullet dot position is equal to a new vector 2. It's going to be position dot x plus texture width divided by